that I was able to get Derek and Culture Shock here with me because this is a interesting question. Uh, Malik Hooker, right? I mean, we all kind of figured that Malik probably wouldn't be back with the Colts after his Achilles tear, especially after Julian Blackman really kind of took over after that injury and really showed up. But Malik still has a lot of talent if he could stay healthy. And there are a lot of teams out there that have shown interest in him. Uh, Over 8 different teams has have taken visits from him, going through medicals and things like that. A lot of people thought Dallas would be that guy, the team that would sign Malik Hooker because they need help drastically on that defense. But they ended up going with two other safeties instead this off season, this free agency. Um, Derek, what are your thoughts about Malik Cook? Do you think that he has the chance to maybe bounce back after his rookie campaign or his rookie contract campaign with the Colts and maybe become something special in the NFL?
Well, as a Ohio State fan, I basically got a really good chance. Hey, all right, chill, Marcus. I was able to watch Malik Hooker really shine at Ohio State that one year, and my goodness, he had a year like very few safeties I've ever seen when it comes to being in coverage. He just seemed to be everywhere, knew exactly where to be, and just, rained havoc on all these kinds of different defenses. So, I mean, I don't know, man. It's very concerning off of what we've seen from the last few years and seeing where can he go. Is he going to go somewhere and actually thrive? I mean, we all know the injury history. It's certainly long and it's not pretty. So the ultimate question has just been, can he even stay healthy to begin with? And if he can stay healthy, who's going to take the chance on him? Well, he certainly would have to go into the right system, which I'm sure we're going to talk about here in a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say for me personally, and it pains me to say it because he was a Buckeye and I love him, but I cannot sit here and put my signature on pad and paper and say that I think he's going to end up being something in the NFL one day.
Okay. Culture?
Yeah, yeah, man. Malik Hooker was actually one of my favorite guys coming out of the draft when he was selected. I don't think I really had anybody on my expectation list that was set high other than Malik Hooker, being as though what he did in college. And I was kind of like, man, I really want Malik Hooker to come to the Colts. And when we drafted him, I was like, oh yeah, we're going to be absolutely unstoppable. Then, he actually showed like potential with the interceptions, the one-handed one off Phillip Rivers. Like he really showed the potential. Good tackler too. And I was like, once he got hurt, I was like, okay, he'll bounce back. Then he gets hurt again. So it now starts to become injury prone and a repetition. And I was like, it's not looking so good for Malik Hooker. Then we come out the draft. We got the guy like Julian Blackman, who was also hurt coming out the draft. So I was like, okay, so I don't know what we're doing here. So the next year, Malik Hooker comes in. He gets hurt week 1. Julian Blackman actually emerged from the scene. So I was like, okay, so Julian Blackman's pretty much taking his position. So we all kind of ignored Malik Hooker and just strayed away from him. And we already knew he wasn't going to come back after the injury. So I'm kind of hoping he goes to a system that really needs a safety. But, if anything happens, they can have a backup as well because there's a bunch of teams that need a safety. And I think Malik Hooker could fill in for that. So, best of luck to him. Hopefully he gets to a team signed soon, for sure.
Right. So we was talking about the whole scheme fit, right? What you were talking about, Derek. And obviously teams that use a lot of too high safeties, it's not exactly his best fit because they require both the safeties to come down and tackle and stay back. Now the Colts, they like having a box safety occasionally, but they also like having that strong safety to have the ability to stay back with the free safety. They like to interchange what the safeties do to keep teams guessing. Some teams, like let's say Seattle, have a traditional box safety in like Jamal Adams, right, who is generally down in that box there to set up against the pass or against the run game or the short passes over tight ends, things of that nature, and they have that free safety sitting in the middle, that single high safety that can protect against a deep ball, which is what traditionally I believe Malik Hooker is best at doing. there is quite a few teams out there that could use someone like him, Dallas being one of them, but Dallas already signed someone, as I mentioned earlier. Scary situation. Here's a little thought process for you. The Jacksonville Jaguars, who just hired the ex-Ohio State head coach, that is a system he would actually fit in. How weird would it be to have Malik Hooker playing against, seeing the Colts play against Malik Hooker in Jacksonville? I mean, good Lord. Colts, if that happened, what would your thought process be?
I wouldn't be surprised, being as though we just seen one of our former guys go to another team in the AFC South, which is the Tennessee Titans, who also need another safety, just to put that out there, because they got rid of theirs. So I wouldn't be surprised if he does stay in the division. He's going to feel a certain way for sure because, he didn't extend the contract with the team that drafted him. So I'm pretty sure he's going to play with a little chip on his shoulder. But, I wouldn't be surprised to it at all because there's always that one person that likes to stay in the division and go against the former team that they played. And I think Malik Hooker could do that, especially if they throw a good contract at him. I wouldn't see why not either. So, I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised either if he went with the Jaguars. He was coached by Urban Meyer at one point in college. So, if you want to get a fresh, clean start in the NFL and then you'd want to go somewhere where it feels like, okay, I want to know somebody in the building that's like, okay, I can mentally know that I can go to this guy and ask for help if I need to. And who better to do that with than your old college coach, right? So that makes sense. And like you said, safety is a secondary need for the Jaguars right now. So they could definitely use it. There's a couple teams that have one of the safety position as a primary need. The Chargers is one of them. Unsure if that fits the scheme. I'm not really going off of scheme right now. I'm just kind of looking at teams here that really could use a safety. Like I said, the Chargers are one. The Raiders are another one. I don't know if he would fit the Raiders, though, because I think that they prefer to have their safeties come down and play rough just like the Colts do. But then again, they got Abraham to do that. So, who knows if he just fills that role. The Ravens could use a safety, and, they definitely could use somebody to play that back of the end zone kind of role to help out. And then, like you said, the Titans are one. The Vikings are another one. Washington, the Washington football team could use him. And, he played alongside of a couple guys there with, I don't know if he played with, I think he played with Curtis Samuel before, I believe. I'm trying to remember my years, but I think he has played alongside a couple guys there, or at least knew them when he was leaving. So, there's a couple decent spots here and with the help of him having so many injuries, you can throw a low contract at him, but it's a low risk, potentially high reward for a lot of these teams.
The Ravens is a very interesting place that I think Malik Hooker could also fit very well in. Ever since they lost their other free safety who decided he wanted to punch the other safety in the face during practice last season, and Earl Thomas. He ended up. They haven't really been able to lock that safety position down, and I think that Hooker would be a very good fit because they've got a decent run game or run defense. I think the problem is the Ravens like to ground and pound, get ahead, and they need to be able to protect against those high-powered passing attacks. Like Kansas City just ate them alive, right? When they played them. So you think about something like that, I think Malik Hooker would fit very well in a system similar to that. And I don't know, man. Like I said, Jacksonville looks like a good spot. I think he would fit in with Seattle, but I don't know if they really have a need for him currently. Would you really want to put? You'd have 2 first-round picks basically at safety.
At least for a draft need, they have the Seahawks don't really want to look for somebody in the draft. But then again, if it's not a primary need, then that could give you the feeling that you could go after a a project like a Malik Hooker and see if he could potentially do something against you. Because, I mean, ironically enough, I mean, Malik Hooker's best game with the Indianapolis Colts was against the Seattle Seahawks right before he had his injury. I think he had 2 interceptions in that game before he went down with an injury. So, I mean, ironically enough, that would be kind of funny to see.
Yeah, well, see, Malik, I think, could end up going to multiple places because he's kind of sitting on a prove-it year, right? A lot of teams might be willing to say, I'll give you $3-4 million per year just to see if we can't acquire, a high-end guy. Because it'd be low cost with a really high chance at a high reward if he could stay healthy, as we was talking about. So there's a lot of teams out there that I think that Malik Hooker could legitimately become a member of, even if it's just for one season. Now, I don't like the idea. I would not want him going to the Titans. And it's not because I hate the Titans. We've already lost, like you said, one guy to the Titans already, as a pass rusher. I wouldn't want to have to play against him all the time. Jacksonville, I'm sorry. I mean, I like Carson Wentz, but if Malik Hooker is healthy, I don't want Carson Wentz throwing deep against Malik Hooker. It's just scary. It's a scary thought, because he can close very fast and make some amazing catches. We've seen that over the 4 years he was with Indianapolis when he was healthy. So, I don't know. There's some other teams out there. The Jets are known for acquiring old ex-Colts, so that's a situation you might keep an eye on. I mean, they've got, 13 ex-Colts on their roster or something like that?
I'm sure it'll be better than Quincy Wilson. I'm sure. Listen, man, the ultimate question is can Hooker stay healthy? Yeah. Ultimately, I think he's worth $5, $6, $7 million a year if he just plays for 14, 15 games out of a year. If you can get him for that, his production's worth a low-end contract at least.
Yeah. JDW brought it up. I mean, last year's quarterback for the Colts knows exactly what Malik Hooker can do, right? Because the year prior, Hooker intercepted him in the back of the end zone with that one-handed snag right in the back. Yep, and he was like, I don't know how he got there. He just, wow. I honestly, I think Hooker's got the talent. He just got to stay healthy. And with the teams out there, man, I really think the Jets need to pick him up. I really do. I know that sounds kind of weird. I think the Jaguars need to pick him up. I don't like playing against him, but at the same time, I think it would be a benefit to both the team and the player for both of them because he'll be an upgrade over whoever is back there from either of those teams because both are, the safety position in New York is awful. Same with Jacksonville. So, and it'd be a situation where, if Hooker can stay healthy, he may earn himself a nice fat contract if he could play really, really well. I think we've kind of hammered the Malik Hooker situation down pretty good. So let's go to the chat here. And that one guy says that Hooker will be a Cowboy next year. I don't know. Like I said, they just signed 2 guys, and one of them also had an Achilles tear. They did visits back-to-back, and they signed the other one. And Hooker said that from the reports that he had a great showing, when he went to Dallas. So that was kind of odd. Sarah Small, what's up, girl? She says she wants Justin Houston back. In the current situation right now, guys, Derek, I'll leave it to you first. Your thoughts on the possibility of bringing Justin Houston back to the Indianapolis Colts?
Well, it seems more and more every day that it's just going to be one of those situations where we may have to wait until after the draft to kind of see the situation of Justin Houston. Does Indianapolis draft an edge rusher early in the draft, and that might close the door on a Justin Houston being brought back because you might just say, well, let's just run with the young guys that we have. Or if you don't draft one early enough and you find just a piece, then you probably would bring Justin Houston back because he's ironically enough, he's the most proven piece on the defensive end position right now that the Colts have. So, I don't know. I would love to have Justin Houston back because I think ultimately you wouldn't have to pay him a lot because he's going to be 33 when the season starts. He knows that, 2-3 years down the road, he's not going to be in the NFL anymore. Most likely is going to be one of his last contracts that he signs, even if he has some juice left in him. He still is not going to demand a lot of money. So I wish the Colts would just pull the trigger on it already, to be honest.
Yeah, man, 100%. Justin Houston, he's a good asset. But catching up with age, he might slow down a little bit, maybe not. But definitely after the draft, will we look like what we get? If we do get like a secret weapon or a special talent in the draft that's coming off the pass rush, we might not bring Houston back, or maybe we bring him in and they split the snap counts. A veteran leadership coming off the edge rush could definitely help the next person up coming after Justin Houston. So I think we should bring him back after the draft, maybe just to scout the talent first and see what the draft looks like. And then maybe we'll get a deal from Justin Houston for sure. But I can't see him anywhere else potentially because I think he would have been gone already if we were being honest.
See, here's the thing. I wouldn't mind bringing Justin Houston back just to have the leadership, right?
Yep.
Even if we draft high, even if we use the 21st and end up, somehow Greg or Phillips or somebody is there at the 21 and Ballard pulls the trigger on them instead of a left tackle or trading back, I'd still would have no issue having Justin Houston there just as, the veteran leadership that he has. And the man sits there well after practice and is hammering the bags, hammering the sleds. I've watched him during training camp well after everyone's even done, doing their autograph signings and stuff. And everybody's off the field, walk back through the tunnel, back to the rec rooms and stuff. Houston is still out there just banging on them, Wow, that's a work ethic, That's something that rubs off on people when you've been in the NFL that long and you're still, putting that kind of effort in. I don't have no problem. Now, do I want to give him $10 million a year like I did, like the Colts did on the first contract? No, I could see $7-8 million, but $10 mil right now. I think that after last year, we saw a bit of a slide, as opposed to what he did the first season. So I think that's probably why Justin Houston himself hasn't signed a contract yet, because he still thinks that he could get a little bit more out of teams, and teams just don't want to pay that much right now. So you're probably right, though, about probably not getting signed till after the draft, especially since the draft is close, walking up on right now.
21 days.
Yeah. Yep. All right. If Houston resigns, as a Get Culture says this, if Houston resigns, he'll likely be the number one defense on the Colts roster, even with a high draft pick coming in. I don't know. If it's like one of those top four guys, like Greg or Phillips, like I said, I think they would end up being the number one. But Houston would still be there, because I would honestly, I don't mind Houston being there on like first and second down. I would want the hardcore pass rushers on your second longs or your third and long type situations where it's a passing down. That's when I would want those hardcore pass rushers that you get, whether it be like Kamoko Toure or if we draft Phillips or someone like that. That's definitely a situation where I'd want the high-end speed rushers out there. Hey, while I got everybody here, please don't forget, smash that like button, hit subscribe if you're not subscribed, tag notification bell so you're notified next time I go live or I upload a video. And don't forget, I have my merch shop. There's a link in the description of the video right down here. A lot of good stuff, fair prices. I think I kept my profits way down in order to make sure that the prices were fair for people, So just let you know. So if there's anything you guys want to talk about here on the stream, we're about 25 minutes into it. Feel free, drop suggestions or comments or something in the comment section. And currently, we had a question about Michael Pittman Jr. earlier. Let me scroll back up here and see where that's at. I saw one. Where was it? Doo-doo-doo. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. There it is. It was Stelios Theo Harris. Do you predict Pittman will go off next year if he stays healthy? And I'm going to let Culture Shock start with that himself because I gave Derek first last time.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. Pittman's a tall, lengthy receiver, versatile. Got good route running, can catch the football. His first injury was non-NFL contact. It was a off the field injury, so I don't think he's going to be injury prone. But all the weapons we have on offense opens the game up for everybody that's going to be on the field. We've pretty much got 4 to 5 weapons per snap count, whatever you do. So we got 2 tight ends that can literally go get a touchdown, 2 running backs. We can run 2 running back formation out the gun. We got 3 receivers we can have on the field. So Michael Pittman Jr. can go off at any moment. I definitely think it's going to emerge on the scene. Just got to get him open and give him the football. Simple as that.
Yeah, I think that this is the year that Pittman will potentially shine. You saw the difference in how the year went when Pittman got back from his injury. And, he really started to get that confidence. I think he has that confidence now. I think he can look back on the second half of that season and say, hey, I had a couple of really good games there, and I felt like I could even do more. And a lot of Colts fans say, you definitely could have done more. I mean, that's not to his fault, but just the fact that, he thought that we could get him the ball a little bit more. But there were games against Buffalo, games against Tennessee and Green Bay where, he really exposed a lot of mismatches, especially in the middle of the field. But what separates Michael Pittman's year this year versus what he had last year, he now has a quarterback that will sling the ball just to say, go get the 50-50 ball. You know how many times even last year Carson just had to throw the ball just 50 yards down the field because that was his only option and just say, let the receiver go get it? I mean, 90% of the time, Michael Pittman is a mismatch for any corner that he has on him. So when you ask him, hey, go get the 50-50 ball, I mean, that is certainly Pittman's that is in Pittman's blood to be able to go up and get it. And we saw him being effective at the drag routes across the middle of the field. That's good for him to utilize that speed against linebackers. I think they are going to use him a lot more. I think he's going to be more utilized early on because he's going to be a little more confident with it. Do I expect ginormous numbers? No, but I'd love to see him get more than 1 touchdown this year, which I believe that he will. I think they tried to utilize him in the red zone a lot more often later in the season. It just didn't work, unfortunately. A couple times in that Buffalo game where they just couldn't get it to him. But I hope they do that a little more this year. I want to see him get a few more touchdowns than that. But I think this is the year he's going to drastically improve.
Yeah, I like the options for Michael Pittman Jr. coming into the 2021 season. Last year, you got to remember, it started off, the season was awful. No, when you have a brand new quarterback, new scheme, new coach, new team, new everything, and you were starting with this COVID-19 situation, he had no ground to really stand on starting off. And then he has the calf injury, has to have 2 surgeries. He's out for a few weeks. That sets him back even more. He straight up, second half of the season is where he got his 600 yards, basically.
Yep.
So you think about the second half of the season is where he got the majority of his yards. He's only going to get better now. Now that he's got a year under his belt. Do I think he can break 1,000 yards this year? Honestly, I do. I think he can. It just depends upon, like you said earlier in the question, can he stay healthy? Now that calf injury, that's just a weird thing that happened. So, to me, it doesn't seem like he has an injury problem yet. It's not like a Paris Campbell situation where, Paris was injured 3 or 4 different times in his rookie year and then had the knee thing, which could have happened to anybody, to be fair, in last season. But, yeah, I think Michael Pittman has all the tools to be a top receiver in the NFL. You were shaking your head. Culture, what's up?
No, I was laughing at it Twitter, but I think Derek wanted to say something.
I just wanted to add on to that. You mentioned, Lawrence, how, he's got a whole season under his belt. we could take this back 2 weeks ago. Did we just see the clip of him and Wentz already getting work in? He didn't have a chance to do that with Phillip Rivers this last offseason. He didn't have the chance to do that. He's already establishing some chemistry and connection there with Carson Wentz. And, they're getting along. They're doing routes already. Like, he's already miles ahead of what he was able to do last year. So that just further helps the point, too, that a lot of these guys, including Michael Pittman, will be able to establish better communication with each other into week one than what they had last season.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the Colts are set up pretty decent if they can stay healthy on the talent wise when it comes to wide receivers, running backs. We all know about the running backs. There's a lot of people who want to get another wide receiver this year. If it happens, great. If it doesn't, honestly, I think we can roll with what we have at wide receiver. I think we have young talent there. Can Campbell stay healthy? That's a big issue. If he can, I think he's a dangerous player. But DeMichael Harris and Doolin and all those guys, they're great players for the Colts. T.Y. coming back is a big deal. And then, of course, Michael Pittman. I think Mo Alley Cox has a chance of having a bit of a breakout season now that he has a Carson Wentz who's a little bit more mobile rather than Phillip Rivers, so that he could actually go out for pass routes rather than stay inside and block all the time. So, yeah, I honestly... this is a great situation, I think, for the Indianapolis Colts offensively coming into this season. JDW came up with a question. I seen you sitting there talking to him in the chat. Thoughts? Will the Colts break 2250 in rushing yards this year?
Gosh darn it, JDW. I got that same question like a million times yesterday.
Really? Well,
and I never answered it.
I'm going to answer it.
I want to go see this. Hold on. I gotta be able to form an opinion on this.
No, the Colts are not going to break 2250. I think they'll break 2,000 yards rushing. Okay. As a team, I think they'll break 2,000 yards rushing. 2250 is a chunk. Okay, that is a massive chunk. The Ravens do it because that's what they do. They run the football with their quarterback, with their running backs, with their wide receivers. Their coach jumps out there, runs the ball a few times, that's what the Ravens do. The Niners, heavy run team, I don't see the Colts being as heavy a run team as what you think we will be. We will utilize it, but I think with Carson Wentz sitting back, I think Carson, after the first 2 or 3 games, getting comfortable back in that pocket, I think Frank Reich likes to draw up those play action passes and will utilize that a lot. And I think the average numbers, will the Colts average over 4 yards a carry on the ground? Yes, absolutely. Will they get 2,250 yards? I don't. I could see him getting around 2,100, but I don't see 2,250.
Don't forget to add in the QB sneaks and the QB options on the goal line. Carson's going to probably pull that off a few times.
Yeah,
but that's like a yard.
Okay, so you got another 5 yards added on for the QB sneaks.
All right. Look, here's the thing.
Did last year for the Colts.
Here's the thing, though. Colts finished last season, after everything that was said and done,
11th.
1,996 yards, 4 yards shy of 2,000. Mm-hmm. Now we're saying 250 more. Now, let me break it down for you real quick. So, Jonathan Taylor finished last season with 1,170. Now, that was obviously you broke it into 2 halves. The first half of the season, Jonathan Taylor was not the Jonathan Taylor we now know he can be. He was averaging 30, 40 yards a game at rushing, and Jordan Wilkins had to come in and be the guy because they thought Jonathan Taylor was just not ready. Now, do I think Jonathan Taylor runs for 1,500 yards? No, I'm not saying that. The Colts are too running back by committee to let him do that. Do I think he can get another 1,200 yards again this year? I absolutely believe he can. Nyheim Hines last season had 89 rushes for nearly 400 yards. He was averaging over 4 yards a carry as well. So very effective in what he did. And I think the Colts are also realizing how much of an improved runner he has become in between the tackles and being able to do that. So another 350, 400 yards for Hines, I definitely can see. And you brought Marlon Mack back for the exact reason to fill that hole to where he takes away a couple hundred yards from Jonathan Taylor and he gets it on his own. Do I think they get 2,250? I don't know exactly. I don't believe they do, but I do not doubt that they can. They absolutely can with the group of running backs that they have back there. Will they do it? I doubt it. But because, teams are going to start trying to figure out ways to slow that rushing attack now, because now they know Jonathan Taylor is one of the best running backs in the NFL league now. You got Marlon Mack coming back, and when he was healthy, that dude was a top 10 running back, no question. On top of that, you got Nyheim Hines. So teams are going to be a lot more stacked into the box now. I just don't think they do it, but I absolutely believe they can.
I'm going to add on to that. I don't think they're going to get it because last year, to be honest, we could have had way more points off kick returns, but I think Nyheim Hines got sold so many times that the points couldn't add up. So that's another reason why, we almost had the 2,000 rushing yards in general. I don't think we're going to be having a chance to get on offense because I think we're just going to explode on special teams.
Well, that's interesting. No, I think that they could if they were a 65% rushing team, but I don't think the Colts will be a 65% rushing team. I think that, like I said, Frank Reich likes to throw the football. We got literally 5 quarterback coaches on this team right now. Carson Wentz had 0 quarterback coaches the last few years, right? None. So now they're going to be working on Carson Wentz. Well, Carson's going to end up dropping back quite a bit, I think. It'll help with the RPOs. It'll help with the play action. I don't think that the Colts will run the ball any more than what they did. They might average a tick higher, than what they did last year per carry. But it ain't going to be enough, I don't think, to make up 1,250 yards. JDW asked me if this is Streamlabs. It is Streamlabs. Actually, it's a combo of Streamlabs and StreamYard.
Multitasking.
Yes, I am. That's why I was having issues at the beginning of the stream. I'm trying to figure out how to do.
Yeah, Marcus likes to call himself an expert in multitasking because he does it on my stream all the time.
I was trying to be innovative and put 2 systems together to make it more interesting for people watching the stream. And once I get it down, I think this will be great. But let's see here. Other questions. Carson will plant that seed in the defense and keep. Oh wait, no. Holy crap, dude.
There's a lot of stuff.
JDW, you talk a lot.
Yeah, he does.
I love you, dude.
Did you not see my chat yesterday? Did you see my chat? He was the only one chatting. I mean, that's the funny part. I had 40 people in there. But he chats a lot. Hey, it's all good, JDW. It's good, man.
Absolutely, man. Because at least he's throwing out his opinions on stuff and allows. But man, I'm trying to find other people's stuff.
And the thing too, I mean, I'll go back to the point on the Colts rushing. I don't remember what it was like for the 2017 Eagles. I'd have to go back and look at it. But Carson's best efficient year came when the Eagles had the same aspect where they said, we're going to run the football by committee. That 35 to 40% running the football, because it does that for every quarterback. It makes it easier to run pass plays because if you can run the football effectively, then it makes it easier for every quarterback. I feel like especially early in the season, the Colts are going to do that a lot more often to help get Carson just situated, make him feel comfortable. I mean, it's going to really determine at the beginning of the year how good this Colts rushing attack is actually going to be, because you're going to see them do that a lot more often.
Tim T says that we need to make a move at tight end. I'm assuming that's either the draft or free agent.
Yeah, most likely is a draft.
Yeah, draft. I think we're all sold on draft.
I heard like Tremble or Tevin or something. Those are the two tight end names that I keep getting brought up, like second or third round potentially.
Well, we don't have a third, so
yeah, they might trade back in the sense of, maybe acquiring that third pick. Or Ballard might just do that.
It could happen, but I'm not going to put, you know what I mean? I'm not going to assume that that's going to happen. I mean, he might end up trading back and getting an extra pick from next year. It happens. He does that a lot. Generally, when he trades back, he gets stuff for the year after, that next season. So, but yeah, tight end. I wouldn't mind a tight end. I mean, we've only got two that are, efficient currently on the Colts I see of. Now, I don't want to see, personally, I don't want to see a tight end drafted first or second round. I want to see that pass rush if it's possible, and that left tackle position filled. Me personally. And so, I mean, if you want to go a tight end in the fourth or fifth round on somebody who is a very solid guy that you like, that you think has promise, absolutely, go for it. I have no problem with that. Whether it be a tight end, a wide receiver, a cornerback, I don't care. But tight end is in that list. What are you thinking?
Marcus, JDW is roasting you in the chat. I'm just saying. It's right below that Ant Rodgers.
Yeah. Anywho, back to the original topic. I agree on not going with a tight end first. I mean, there's going to be talent there. We're going to get one late in the draft for sure, because it's going to be this draft is loaded at certain positions. So we know a certain position is going to get drafted most than any. So we're going to get a tight end late. We're already sold on Malik Hooker and Jack Doyle, which is the question. Like Brian brought up, he said, which tight end will get the most passes? We're pretty sure it's probably going to be Malik Hooker, tall, versatile, can catch the football. That's going to be him. So, yeah, man, the tight end position is already pretty much filled. We don't really need a guy because we run a two tight end set anyway. So the person we're going to get next pretty much going to be on the learning curve of trying to figure it out. So I think we're pretty much set on that position.
Okay. Unless it was Kyle Pitts. That's the only tight end that you would take in the first round anyway. Yeah. So,
and he ain't now the top 10.
Oh, no. Somebody's getting him in the top 10. When you got a guy that's 6'5" and is 260 pounds and can run a 4.5, I mean, that's just freaking impressive.
Yeah,
there's nasty. And not to mention, he's never dropped a pass in college. So, I mean, that's something also I think a lot of people don't realize, is that he has never dropped a ball that has actually hit his hands. So, that is actually very insane. But I mean, later in the draft, I think you can get some guys that would help. I mean, just the only issue is the Colts say, well, we want to get somebody that's explosive and they can make plays and do all this stuff. Well, there were a couple of those in free agency, but you didn't go for them. And now you're saying your options are very limited in the draft to get something like that. So you're either showing your hand, or it really doesn't matter that much to you. And honestly, I don't believe it matters that much to them. I honestly don't think it does.
Nope.
All right, so Ant Rodgers has a question for you, Derek. Is there anyone in OSU that you like that could possibly become a Colt?
Oh boy.
I saw the Baron Browning thing. Yeah. Baron Browning, who ironically enough is one of the best athletes at the linebacker position since they started tracking the stats and everything else. I mean, Baron Browning is certainly not coming to the Colts. I think that he is somewhat of a liability in coverage still. I'm not denying that he is a phenomenal athlete, and he will definitely thrive wherever he ends up going. He was projected to be a 4th round pick before the Senior Bowl, before pro days. Now there's a lot of people saying that they wouldn't be surprised if he's early 2nd based on just how he's done. I mean, that's what he's done for himself, and I love it. I mean, most of the offensive guys that are for Ohio State are coming back this next year. All their receivers are coming back. They're losing a couple offensive linemen. I know Wyatt Davis is a big name.
I hear they're losing their quarterback.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, you know how that works, right? He's gonna go San Fran at number 3, so that's all I'm saying. But look, I'll be honest, Lawrence and Marcus. This is the first time I've ever been okay with saying this viewpoint. I'll do it on Lawrence's stream just because. If they are serious about moving Quentin Nelson to the left tackle position, draft Wyatt Davis for a guard. I promise you, he plays like Quentin Nelson. Through the whistle, throws people to the ground, nasty, has never allowed a sack at Ohio State in his 3 years of playing as a starter. So this guy is definitely legit. I would love to get him.
Well, could Wyatt be moved to left tackle if he comes into the NFL?
I've never seen him play a tackle position. I don't know. That would be flexible.
Nelson didn't play tackle until one game for a couple plays.
I mean, he played a little bit of tackle when he was in high school and at Notre Dame, but they just ultimately saw his best position was guard. I don't know. I honestly have no idea, but he's definitely a great offensive lineman that you could get, but he's not a bona fide tackle. Offensive side, the only other offensive player that I can think of that we would go after is Luke Farrell, our tight end. But he's not the explosive playmaking tight end that the Colts say they're looking for. He's got good size and he's got a good vertical and he's got great hands, but he just doesn't have everything else. But defensive wise, Tommy Togiai, the one that benched 40 times at his pro day for the bench press. I mean, he is definitely strong and very cool. My guess is he doesn't leave the second round because he's so strong and so aggressive that I think somebody might take a shot at him for that. I'll say this, if the Colts trade back and they go and they get something in the third round, or if Togiai happens to fall into the late third or early fourth, go get him. Seriously. I don't even care how great your interior defensive line already is. He would make it even better. And that's saying something. But outside of that, I just don't, there's not a whole lot of other options that I see the Colts going with.
Well, I mean, it's pretty obvious. Ballard does have a love affair with OSU players. So
yeah, he does. He does like some OSU players.
I think we need to end that.
Well, and he definitely loves his defensive line, finding any depth that he can for his defensive line. So that would not surprise me at all.
Yeah. Is there anyone in college right now that Marcus, do you would like to see the Colts draft that maybe is not as big a name? Maybe
if it was LSU, it'd be Jacoby Stevens, but that's just me being me. For sure, a safety position too that you use as a backup. I think it'll work. I think it'll work out perfectly. I think he'll probably be better than that Ohio State safety we got that was named Malik Hooker.
Probably. You're probably right. You're probably right.
That was funny. I was just playing.
Oh, man. Got a good question here by Brian. Nomadic Brian. Welcome to the stream, my guy. Glad to see you and all you other guys that are showing up here. The Reliables. Love having you guys here. Hey, which tight end's going to get the most passes this year, Doyle or Cox?
Yeah, I think Marcus answered that one earlier, saying that it was going to be Mo Alley Cox.
Big Mo.
I agree. It should be. Shouldn't be Doyle. It should be Mo Alley Cox. I know a lot of people have said that he's not as athletic as you like him to be, but he's 6'7". 6'7" and can has the hands that are bigger than anybody's hands I've ever seen. Just throw it in the red zone, bro. Like that's it. That's all you need to do.
He's as big as a defensive end. Okay.
Bigger bigger.
260 pounds, 6'7". That's a defensive end, and yet he does have good hands, and he's got nice straightaway speed.
Don't tell Michael that.
Yeah, don't tell Michael Terrazas that.
He's got good straightaway speed. He does not have good horizontal side-to-side speed. He does not change direction very well at all. But
he's so big, I'm not surprised.
Once he gets going straight, then he can cover some ground quickly. Let's see here. Where else are we at? Do you see any questions in this?
I actually have a question that happened earlier this morning that I made a video about, no pun
Okay.
intended. But I think he's just putting it on Twitter to try to get attention out of it, because obviously if it was a real issue, he probably would have settled it with front office already. But George Odom, he put out a tweet earlier saying, man, imagine if I would have played safety, I would have made crazy numbers. And he put up his college stats with all the accolades on it with the picture and everything. Of course, we brought him back. I don't think he wanted to come back because he knew he was going to be a special teams player. How do you think the Colts should handle the situation with George Odom right now?
As they are currently. I mean, honestly.
Yeah, you don't change anything. Yeah.
No.
I mean,
Here's the thing, okay? Odom, I get that Odom wants to be a starting safety. He is great as a special teams gunner, okay? An amazing special teams gunner. That's why he's all pro at it. But he came in after Willis went down with the concussion in the first half against Pittsburgh and got ate up by Ben Roethlisberger throwing deep down the left sideline. Okay? Mm-hmm. 3 different passes. He got ate up on that. That tells me I don't think he is a above average safety currently. I love Odom on special teams, and I think he's good as a backup at safety, but I don't believe that he has shown me personally that he is a high quality starting safety yet, at least in the Colts scheme.
If he would have been, then somebody would have offered him a contract by now.
Yeah.
Somebody would have. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, we all, I think most people are in agreement that if he was to be a backup safety and he has the chance to, make a couple plays every now and again, he has done that for Indianapolis. And we obviously know he's one of the best at special teams in anyone in the entire NFL. But yeah, I mean, if he was that high quality of a safety, sorry, George Odom, if you see this, but man, somebody would have offered you a bigger deal by now, and the Colts would have just let you go. But I mean, they haven't. So I mean, just don't take it personally. Take it as a way to try to get better.
Yeah, man. You know the rules in Indianapolis is next man up anyway. So I think you should just try to stay patient, play the course, keep doing what you're doing. Being an all-pro is a great accolade to have for yourself. So I think you should just take that, be a team guy, continue to do that, and just take your issues off of Twitter, please. I'm tired of seeing it. Just take it off Twitter.
Yeah, it doesn't help at all. Like, what does that mean for, what does that show other teams? Like, are we gonna have this issue with this guy? That doesn't fly well with the GMs who have to pay you and that, or make the decisions whether you get paid or not. And it certainly doesn't make Ballard look cool, thinking that oh great, so you want me to pay you and you're talking shit about the team and about me not paying you. Like, what does that do for you? Like, I mean, you can say all the stuff you want behind closed doors. That's what I normally say. I don't take my work related issues onto Twitter. You can say it to your friends, to your family, to your inner circle people. You can say it all you want outside of those doors. But when you put it on social media for everyone to see, and that includes the people that pay you, it's never a good look. Never.
No, yeah. I agree. Yeah, you shouldn't air your dirty laundry about your employer on social media, period. Especially when your employer is staring right at your social media on a daily basis, that could end up you not getting playtime. You're complaining about it. That'll only get you like bad things happen, in my opinion. So, I wouldn't do it. Let them handle it as it is. I'm going to kind of reword because I have a question earlier here. Where was it? Did I scroll past it? There was a question about Eichelberg.
Liam Eichenberg. I didn't see it.
Well, how about this? Let's say the Colts somehow get like somebody in the first as a pass rusher, whether it's Pay or Greg or Phillips or something like that. Second round, say you're around pick 40, and you see Eichenberg or Leatherwood or someone like that sitting there. would you give up your 4th or 5th round pick to move up in the second to go grab that guy?
If you felt that confident in them being the guy of the future, then absolutely. I mean, the Colts gave up their 3rd or 4th last year to go get Jonathan Taylor, and that wasn't even a position of need. But this is a position of need, and if you think that position of need and that guy fills it perfectly, then of course I would be okay with the Colts doing that. Okay, so we don't have a 3rd or 4th rounder. I don't really care. That's 3rd, 4th rounders. Ballard does so well with 2nd round picks nowadays that it's like I'd almost be worth him throwing the ladder to go get the guy that he wants if he thinks that's the guy that's going to make this team better. I mean, you're still going to have draft picks the next year. It's not like this is a reoccurring thing. You're not giving up 1sts and 2nds to go get a guy, but you're getting a guy in a position of need who you think is actually worth it. So I think that's absolutely something they should think about.
Absolutely, man. You said you look at these last drafts that they did, like the moves that they make are very pivotal. Look at the draft when we got DeForest Buckner out of, we got Jonathan Taylor out of the draft for trading. Like both of these trades were very pivotal and were great moves. So I think it's going to be another move like that this year. I feel like when it comes to drafts or trading back or looking at certain talent, I think we'll get it figured out for sure with no problem. So I'm never really worried about it at all.
Okay. Yeah, the thing is, the way I look at it, yes, the offensive tackle position is incredibly deep, but will there be that guy that you want starting at left tackle late 2nd round? That's the question, right? You may have to move up to the middle of the 2nd round to get that guy that you want. And when you're talking about literally your 2 biggest needs, if you're able to fill the first one with the 21st pick, and then you just have one more real need left. In my opinion, that's what just one more real need, that left tackle. If you have to give up your 4th rounder to move up to get it, or your 5th rounder, to move up, 5 to 10 spots to go get him, absolutely do it. Like you said, Derek, if it's a guy that you traditionally really honestly believe is that guy, you got to do that. You absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
I get that Ballard loves his picks, and everybody talks about moving back. Ballard's moved up too. He's
he did it just this last draft.
Yeah. I mean, granted, he only moved up like 3-4 spots just to get in front of Jacksonville because he was afraid that Jacksonville was going to grab Jonathan Taylor. But because
it's a good thing he did that too.
Didn't want to play against Jonathan Taylor.
Even though the person they got, James Robinson, killed us. Even though, just saying.
Yeah, but no, that's a situation. He was an undrafted. That's one of those players, those rare players that you look at and go, you didn't expect that. Like Denzel Good. No one knew who Denzel Good is. He's still a starter in the NFL, sitting over there with the Raiders. Those kind of guys you just don't see coming, and when they happen, and it's great, But yeah, I'm just glad that we're not facing Jonathan Taylor on a weekly basis.
Thank God.
Oh, that'd be awful.
Could you imagine having to try to go up against Derrick Henry and Jonathan Taylor and David Johnson 6 times? Holy crap.
I can see Autry still making that move to Tennessee.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, it's awful.
No, couldn't trust him. I knew it.
All right, we're 58 minutes in. Please don't forget to smash that like button, hit notification bell, subscribe if you're not subscribed. I'd really appreciate it. I'm like this close to 1,300 subs. So
get this man to 1,300 before the end of this freaking stream. Come on.
Oh, we riot.
Yeah.
Exactly. We riot on this stream and we don't leave it until you guys get us to 1,300.
Starting with JDW, we're gonna riot him first.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I'm pretty sure JDW is a subscriber. If he's not, then I'm gonna
go beg him over the hill with your coffee mug.
Bigger than your head. All right.
The mug is as big as Marley Cox's hands. You don't want that, man.
No. The added mitts there, right?
Yep.
Is there a reason Get Culture asks that we brought in Sean Davis?
Yeah, because we wasn't going to use George Odom, apparently.
I mean, honest to God, I think that might actually be the thing that's concerning me is that, George Odom decides to, want to take matters into his own hands and say, screw you guys, I'm not playing. Sean Davis is the backup plan because Sean Davis does the same dang thing as George Odom.
And he's a harder hitter too.
Yeah, he's a hard hitter, and he plays he's the box safety. So, it's just one of those things. So,
yep, it happens. Let's see here. You have chosen death. What, FaZe? I don't understand what you're saying there, my guy. FaZe just dropped in. You have chosen death.
Yeah, he was in here earlier. I think he's talking about.
FaZe Waterhose.
Yeah,
I love that guy.
Oh yeah, I'm just curious. I'm trying to figure out what he's talking about. I'm sitting there looking at this. But anyhow, Colts can get a left tackle at 21 and try to get Joe Tyron at 54.
Yeah. I don't know.
See,
who's Joe Tryon? I'm sorry, I don't
know who he is. It must be a guy that works at a grocery store or something. Never heard of him.
There's a guy in the Hall of Fame that was a quarterback for the Cardinals who's was a grocery bag guy, quarterback. But yeah. What do you guys think about Campbell having a true bounce back year with Wentz?
It's possible. Just got to stay on the field.
Yep, exactly it. I mean,
I'm tired of making excuses.
Yeah, it's just, you're right. I mean, it's just, if he stays healthy, then, he thrives anywhere just because of his athletic ability. It's just, unfortunate that this last year he was looking to do it and then all of a sudden just happens to get his knee blown out by Harrison Smith. So, it's unfortunate. So,
okay. No, I think that if he could stay healthy, I think he's going to have a huge season. I think he'll have well over 600-700 yards receiving because he is that speed guy over the middle that Carson Wentz loved. In Philly, he really liked Nelson Aguilar. When he was
his version of Deshaun Jackson.
Yeah, Well, Ty is kind of a Deshaun Jacksonist too.
Yeah.
Right down to size, weight, speed, everything, But Paris Campbell's a little bit taller, He's 6 foot, He's your average wide receiver height with the 4.3 speed, He's that guy. Seriously, man, drag routes, crossing patterns, post routes, stuff like that. That is so dangerous with Paris Campbell. If he can stay healthy, he absolutely is going to be a dangerous player, especially off play action. The little quick hitters, right as soon as you fake that handoff, you pull that ball up, throw it right over the linebackers to him, and watch Paris go. Because there'll be that big open space between the linebackers and the safeties, and it'd be scary.
Like what we tried to use Michael Pittman for a couple times in the sweeps.
Yeah.
There's Paris Campbell right up the freaking alley. Because Paris Campbell is a lot faster than Pittman, so I can't wait for those. I can't wait for those.
Man. I had a dream the other day. Like the offense set up, you got Ty, you got Michael Pittman Jr., you got DeMichael Harris on the motion, Paris Campbell's on the inside and crossing the same route as Michael Pittman on the opposite side, while Ty goes straight up the field. I don't think you can guard that. There's so much speed on the offense that it's just insane to think about.
Yeah,
it's just insane.
Yeah, there's a lot of speed, especially. Let's say the Colts run a 3 wide receiver, 2 running back set. One of those running backs is Naheem Hines, and then you split Hines out. You got a stupid amount of speed sitting out there at wide receiver.
Yeah, speed and agility.
Yeah.
Holy hell!
I mean,
that is a mismatch for whatever linebacker has to potentially go out on those guys. Oh my gosh!
And the thing is the Colts didn't use the 2 running back setup near enough last year. Yeah, nowhere near enough. And now they got Marlon and Hines and Wilkins and Taylor. They need to run. I wouldn't be upset if I saw a 23 setup where you got 2 tight ends and 3 running backs sitting behind Carson Wentz.
Hilton, Paris, Hines on the outside. That's speed. You got Jonathan Taylor and Mack in the backfield. A lot of teams are going to have to play 5 corners this year. That takes one guy out of the box and Indianapolis is saying, oh, you're going to go with 4 or 5 guys on the front? Okay, time to run the ball. It's Jonathan Taylor and Marlon Mack time again.
Yep.
Like, it's easy. It's easy if the Colts can just keep these guys healthy. I mean, the speed that these guys have. I mean, I saw Get Cultured say on there, 6 catches, 71 yards for Paris Campbell in week 1. I'll take that every week. I'll take that every freaking week. 800 yards by the end of 900 yards by the end of the season, dude.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
heck yeah.
That's 1,400 yards receiving in a 17-week season if he got 71 yards a game.
Yeah.
1,400. So I would hope so, because when T.Y. had 1,400, he led the NFL in receiving. So I would think so.
I emailed the other Marcus the other day. We got that Marcus to Marcus connection. Marcus Brady, our new offensive coordinator. I said, hey, man, this is the first and last warning. Cut out the wide receiver screens, and that was it. I don't want to see a wide receiver screen every 2 downs. I really don't. We got too many weapons.
Why not?
We have too many weapons to run a wide receiver screen every week.
You have an offensive line that makes it so easy to run these screens, and you got great wide receivers that are able to make it work.
What if it's a wide receiver screen that has Pittman and Pascal on the outside, and that's a screen to Campbell?
Yes, please, because Campbell made his living at Ohio State off of that.
And Pittman and Pascal can pancake corners,
and they
no
pancake
problem.
Corners, yes. Because
I'm not saying not to use it. I'm just saying to limit it. Just to limit it. Last year it was with Phillip. It was terrible. We had Phillip. It was kind of the reason why the offense got stagnant, because we just kept running screens.
Well, also Phillip, he didn't have the arm strength to deliver the ball fast enough to the wide receiver to take advantage of the screen play. Carson's got a bit of a cannon on him. All right, so I think he could legitimately make that a little bit more explosive.
And the other thing is that it makes knowing that Carson has feet to be able to at least make you honest. It's that fraction of a second that linebacker who decides to be on the edge that would normally be going straight out to Paris has for a split second thinks that Carson might do it, and then it's out, and then the linebacker doesn't get there in time. Paris got too much speed. You'll never catch him at that point. I love it. Lawrence, you just made me feel so much better about Paris coming back. And my dad hated that Ohio State used to do that so much because, like you said, Marcus, every other down, Ohio State would do that on offense. And he's like, it either gets 20 yards or it gets a -7 yard gain. And it's I hate it so much. But the times that it works big. So.
Right. It's a love-hate thing.
It's about making that first person miss. If you can make that first guy miss, there's huge yardage right behind that first line of defenders, man. And that's what the screens are about, right? I mean, that's why running back screens are so dangerous. If you could get past that first line of defense with a couple guys out in front of you blocking, man, you got a quick guy like Taylor or Mack or Hines out there with that to be able to make that first guy miss with those blockers. Scary situation. I don't think Tyron fixed our scheme. I think he's a 3. Oh yeah, you're okay. They're still talking about
the grocery store guy.
Yeah, grocery store guy. Yeah, that'd be it. Yeah, Carson can run too. I would rather him actually not. That's the one thing about Carson that I did notice last season was he got happy feet a little quick. Okay, now I get it. When you get sacked 50 times in 12 games, you're going to have more than happy feet. You're going to have dancing feet. As soon as you get the ball, you're trying to move and get the heck out of there, because you feel like you're on a naked bootleg every time you get the football. But with the Colts, it's a different situation. If they could just get themselves an average to above average left tackle sitting out there, he's going to have a solid offensive line in front of him. So he needs to actually calm down and trust his guys. That's why I'm thinking that preseason is going to be a really big deal for Carson Wentz this season, and having a preseason, because he'll actually get a little bit of comfort with his offensive line. You don't really get that comfort in practice because you got the red shirt on and guys can't hit you, But during preseason, they can hit you, because it's the other team and they're trying to hit you. And once you get through those first couple preseason games, I think that'll get the butterflies out of his stomach, calm him down a little bit, realize I have an offensive line like I did back in 2017 with Philly, back when Kelsey was still worth a darn, and then he'll be able to settle down and actually play his traditional position rather than feel like he's got a Lamar Jackson at every stinking time he gets the football, That's just my thoughts.
Yep. Absolutely.
Is Lethal Mojo, is Reich and Wentz marriage going to be the greatest to ever? No.
No, I think the marriage between Dungy and Peyton is better.
Is what he's doing.
I is not stupid. I
is not the stupid. I is not stupid.
Look, all right, here's the deal. Okay, do I think that Reich is probably the best coach that Wentz could have went to? Yes. I think that if there's any place in the NFL that Wentz could succeed, I think it is Indianapolis. Do I think he's going to jump out here this 2021 season and become Aaron Rodgers from last year? No, I do not.
Not possible.
It's not going to happen, okay? Could I see him being 2018 Luck? I could see that. Luck got comeback player of the year. I could see Wentz getting comeback player of the year. Do I think now I know us as Colts fans, y'all are like, you just compared Wentz to Luck. I'm not saying he's the same player Luck is, okay? I'm saying that he could get the comeback player of the year. All he's got to do is play reasonable. If he has the same stats that he had from 2019, 2018, 2017, and 2021, he's comeback player of the year. Unless there's a situation like, where, Smith got comeback player of the year just by stepping on the field and throwing a completion. Alex Smith.
We don't need him. We don't need him to be Aaron Rodgers or Patrick Mahomes for this team to be successful. We just need him to be slightly better at opening the field than what Phillip Rivers was able to do. And if he's able to do that and not commit stupid mistakes and do the same thing with Indianapolis, like what Phillip Rivers was able to do, then this team is going to be respectable and they are going to be scary for every team they face.
Yeah. Yeah.
100%.
Just we need Carson Wentz to be Carson Wentz and trust in the guys around him. That's always realize you ain't got to put the whole team on your shoulder. Just like Rivers last year, he, took him a couple games to get everything down, but, he realized there's a lot of talent around him. He didn't have to put everything on his shoulders. Let the other guys go out there and do stuff occasionally. And it was a success. Heck, we almost beat the Bills in the playoffs. Should have beat the Bills in the playoffs. Didn't, but, we took the number 2 seed all the way to the limit, right there to the end, the last play of the game. So I think Wentz could have a very good season this upcoming season. It's just depending upon whether or not he can get out of that whole feeling under pressure all the time. That's all. That's all.
Yep.
Guys, I know I generally run a 1 hour podcast here. I will not be doing it tomorrow because I actually have to be in Indy at 5 o'clock because I got to set up for my game commentary for the Indy Express at 5 when the game starts at 7 o'clock. I won't be home until late night. But I want to thank again Derek and Culture Shock for being here on my stream. I really appreciate it. You guys really brought an extra voice to what we're talking about because, I know we agree on a lot of stuff, but we also have differences of opinions once in a while, and that's always good to have on any stream. Thanks everybody who was in the chat as well that's been here for this last hour and 15 minutes. Really loved all the communication that you guys have put through. Don't forget, hit the like button, subscribe, check out my merch shop. Just check it out. Hit that link button, check it out. I got a ton of stuff in there. It's really cool. A lot of good, interesting things. One last time, we'll start with Culture Shock. Go ahead, tell everybody where they could find you, and then Derek will go in after you.
Find me on YouTube at Culture Shock. Find me on Twitter at Culture Shock, or find me in these 2 comment sections. I'll be lurking those too. I really enjoy those, but that's where you can find me.
Yep, Bring the Juice Colts podcast on YouTube and on Twitter at BTJ Pod. You can find my personal at Derek_Larger. Thank you guys. I'm usually on here every now and again. I get Lawrence on mine every now and again, so make sure you guys check those out too.
All right. And of course, I'm Lawrence Owen. You can find me everywhere I got down in the description, Twitter, Instagram, all that neat stuff. And until next time, I'm Lawrence Owen. This is Colts Law. Have a good one.
Just because a player's not a household name doesn't mean we can't make him a household name.